Hello, I'm Brett Schumler. Some of you may remember that back in the 90s, I was the mayor of Jersey City. After that, I was the COO of a college in New York and the New Jersey Commissioner of Education. But I think what I'm proudest of is the charter schools I started here in Jersey City. I've started 3 of them. Empowerment Academy is the most recent. And I think as you go through these videos, you'll come to understand why I'm so proud of it and why it would be an excellent choice for your children. There are 5 core elements of Empowerment Academy's school model. The first is that we try very hard to have children feel that they are loved and welcome and to make school fun. I don't know how many of you thought that your school worked really hard to make school fun when you were growing up. But when children feel that their teachers love them, when they feel that what is important for them is important to their teachers, and when they're enjoying school, they open themselves up and become partners in the learning process. If children don't believe that their teachers really have their best interests at heart, if they're not having a good time at school, then they just close down and learning becomes so much harder. So we work very, very hard to make this a place where people feel cared about and where they have fun. And that's not just something that we say, it's something that we actually act and specifically put in protocols and train our teachers to be able to do. So as an example, when children come off the bus, they'll be greeted with a warm smile. You'll see that throughout the day, they're spoken to in a very respectful and positive way by our teachers. All of these things are part of the evaluation of our school leaders and our teachers. It's important that we see this happening for them to be evaluated well. Now, the reality is they enjoy doing it because students respond so well. And making school fun also is something that children naturally respond well to. And we actually look at the lesson plans that teachers put together, and we train them in how to take a more fun approach to teaching something. And if we don't see these things in the lesson plan, we ask them to do it over. At the end of the day, they're also evaluated on that. But they find, once they begin doing it, that they really enjoy doing it because the children enjoy it. It makes for a really wonderful learning experience. Another extremely important element of our school model here at Empowerment Academy is that we're endeavoring to teach the whole child. We're not just teaching academics. We're helping children develop values and learn how enjoyable it is to try to make things better for others. We do that from the very beginning as kindergartners, working with them to ensure that they treat each other well. But you know how they learn how to treat each other well? By being treated well by their school leaders and teachers. So when they come here and they're warmly greeted, when they're treated well by their teachers and shown respect, and when their teachers constantly work to ensure that they treat each other with respect at a very young age already, children begin to internalize that and accept that that's the way people should treat one another. And as they get a little bit older and we put them into different service projects and so forth, and they begin to experience the satisfaction and joy that comes from doing something to make things better for others, they say to themselves, I'm a person for whom happiness is connected to doing something positive and making a difference, a positive difference for others. That's an important element of our mission here. We also try to develop positive habits. We talk about positive discipline at Empowerment Academy. Think of athletes. Think of great runners, great marathoners. It takes an enormous amount of strong self-discipline to be able to run a marathon and to run it quickly when you're tired and you just as soon slow down. But that's one of the things we're teaching here. We work to teach children positively through encouragement and support, recognition of good effort, about disciplining themselves in a positive way. And that ultimately reflects itself in their conscientious schoolwork, their homework, their learning, and it begins to help them see the meaning of an education. It's not just about yourself. It's about equipping someone to make a more substantial difference in the world because they have the skills to really do something important. That's part of our mission. And you'll see that kind of education, values, habits, self-discipline, as part of our program. A second core aspect of our school model at Empowerment Academy is data-driven instruction. We try to learn as much as we can about children and the things that they're interested in so that we can speak to things that they're interested in and make our instruction more engaging for them. In addition, we look at the skills they've mastered and the skills they're struggling with. So we don't spend so much time on things that they already know and can spend extra time where they're having difficulty mastering a skill or some kind of content knowledge, for instance, history. Now, when you do that kind of data-driven instruction, it makes your instruction more efficient, and it helps you continually work at those skills where students are having a hard time mastering. When you do that, it ensures that students have the prerequisite knowledge that is required for them to continually make progress. One of the things that's very frustrating for children is if they don't master something that you really need to know as a foundation for the next thing, then the instruction that they get next just kind of passes over their head and they're frustrated by it. When you do this year after year, that's when you begin to see children dropping out of school. It's very important along the whole way to be aware of what students are struggling with and then to provide them the support immediately to be able to master that skill. And it also teaches children something. When they immediately get help, when they're having trouble learning something, and they ultimately master it, it teaches them that something might be hard, but that doesn't make it impossible to master. You just have to continue working at it, get some assistance when necessary, but that you can do it if you keep at it. That is one of the most empowering lessons we could possibly teach children here at Empowerment Academy. Another important element of our school model here at Empowerment Academy is the way we approach the professional development of our educators. You know, the single most significant factor in whether a child learns is how strong a teacher they have in the front of the classroom. It's interesting, however, most schools don't really focus on the professional development of their teachers. Teachers are required by regulation to go outside of the school and have certain classes, but there's no guidance about what classes they should take. They decide they're going to take this Saturday class at some college, or this Saturday class that's being offered at some school. And they get credits and they meet a certain state requirement that they have a certain amount of professional development training. But it's very scattershot. And there's no focus on ensuring that if they learn about a new technique, that they then practice it, master it, and really make it part of their ongoing repertoire. And unfortunately, as a result of that, a lot of teachers haven't progressed as far as they might have. Here at Empowerment Academy, we say it is our responsibility to make sure that our teachers progress so that we provide the training right here that we see teachers needing. And every teacher here has a coach. It's not simply that they go out deciding what might be interesting to study. They have a coach who observes them in the classroom, sees where they might be able to improve, directs them on how a technique that they should use, observes them practicing it, makes sure that they ultimately master it and can use it when it would be of value to improve the classroom. And then they also have highly skilled presenters who are experts in different kinds of training come into the school to provide training so that we can be certain that all of our teachers are getting very customized professional development, coaching and training and growth. The result is very able teachers, and that makes just a huge difference. The last element of our school model that I want to talk about today is our longer school day. I think you know that most public schools in America have between a 6 and a 6.5 hour school day. Here at Empowerment Academy, we have a longer than 7.5 hour school day. There's a huge amount of research that shows that when there's more time for instruction, students learn more. That's not shocking. It's actually kind of natural that if you have more instruction, you're going to learn more. And yet, in spite of all the research that says this makes a huge difference in student learning, a difference that becomes greater and greater as that additional learning compounds year after year, you don't see any changes happening in traditional public education. It's all politics, unfortunately. Here at Empowerment Academy and at charter schools throughout the United States, we don't have the same kind of political problems that traditional public schools have. That was one of the reasons charter schools were created, to get politics out of education. So we can just do what research shows to make a positive difference. Our 7.5-hour school day makes a difference. And when you work hard to make learning fun so children enjoy the day, when you break up the day so that you have one academic class and then you have gym and you have another academic class and then you have art and you have another academic class and then maybe you have choir, those kinds of let's say breakups of right brain activity with left brain activity makes it so you don't have children get worn out. They enjoy school, and that allows you to have a longer school day with more instruction, with children engaged for the entire day. And again, after K through 12, you have more instruction all along the way. You have children who are learning more all along the way. And you can see that in the state assessments showing the higher levels of learning taking place at Empowerment Academy and other charter schools, which take advantage of our freedom from political interference to do what research says makes a positive difference. Many people ask, what is a charter school? Charter schools are public schools, pure and simple. Here in New Jersey, they're 100% funded by taxpayers. They're under almost all of the regulations that pertain to traditional public schools. Their boards are public bodies that are under all of the ethics regulations and everything else that applies to traditional school boards. But there's one big difference. The accountability mechanism that the legislature set up for charter schools is one based on performance, not politics. At charter schools, you don't have an elected school board. Rather, you have a board where when someone steps down, the remaining board members choose a replacement. That's the way it works on many organizations all throughout New Jersey and the United States. This is probably the most common structure, in fact, for organizations on how the boards operate. However, if a school doesn't do a good job, if they don't show that they're educationally effective, if they don't show that they're complying with all the different public regulations that pertain to public schools, if they don't manage their finances well, they get closed. Now that's a high level of accountability. The government basically says to us, we're not going to interfere. We're going to let you operate in accordance with these regulations. And if you do a good job, that's wonderful. You'll continue. If you don't do a good job, we're going to close you. That's different than the way it works at traditional public schools. There, the idea is that the school board will be the mechanism of accountability. So if a school is not doing a good job, you replace the school board, and then the idea is the new board members will fix the problem. Unfortunately, what actually happens is that in these political elections, oftentimes powerful special interest groups are able to dominate the election, and it makes it so individual parents really don't feel that they have any influence at all. And the result is that problems may continue. An example of how traditional public schools often don't do what research says makes a positive difference is the longer school day. There's a huge amount of research that says when you have a longer school day, children learn more. And yet, you'll see that in almost every traditional public school in America, they have between a 6 and a 6.5 hour school day. The reason is because the boards, if they tried to change that, would probably lose the election. There are a lot of powerful special interest groups that would oppose it. They don't want a longer school day, and that's just the way it's going to stay. So it doesn't matter what research says. The reality is the boards can't do everything they'd like to do. They have to just accept the political realities of the world that they operate within. Charter schools have been liberated with that. We can do things like have a longer school day, as long as at the end of the day, children are learning at a higher level, we're operating more successfully. I often get asked about facilities. Empowerment Academy will ultimately become a kindergarten to 12th grade school. Presently, we lease 2 former Catholic schools. Our kindergartners to 3rd graders are at the former Our Lady of Victory School at 240 Aggie Avenue, which is between Kennedy Boulevard and West Side Avenue. Our 4th through 6th graders are at the former St. Paul of the Cross School, which is at 211 Sherman Avenue in the Jersey City Heights. But while this is where we are today, we are working with the city to acquire land and construct an entire new campus that will have all of our facilities together, kindergarten to 12th grade, plus some athletic fields and open space. It's going to be spectacular. I think one of the nicest campuses anywhere in Jersey City. And the amazing thing about it is it'll all be ready in time for your children if you're here at Empowerment Academy. Our current 6th graders will finish from that high school. Our younger children will have their upper elementary years all through their high school years at that new campus. It'll be something that I think makes Empowerment Academy particularly special. Not only will we have great activities going on in the building, but we'll have great buildings.
So a common question that parents usually have during open house sessions is what curriculum we use at Empowerment. So at Empowerment, we do believe that we should use any proven curriculum as a guide, but not as the only thing that we use. We like to supplement in order to make sure that it's culturally relevant for our kids. So in kindergarten and 1st grade, they use Reading Street, which is a curriculum based by Pearson for ELA. In 2nd grade, they use Ready Gen, which is another version of Pearson. And then in 6th grade, they use Study Sync, which is actually a curriculum that's based online, and we supplement it with novel studies. In math, across the board from K through 6, we use Houghton Mifflin. They're Into Math, which is actually their newest version of curriculum, an upgrade from Go Math, which is what we used in the past. In science, we purchase FOSS, which is an experiment-based program, and then we supplement it with the New Jersey standards as well. And we also offer a variety of extracurricular for our kids. So students are also exposed to art, technology, PE, health, music, Spanish, and social studies. Newest to this year as far as extracurricular goes is that we are starting an athletics program beginning in 6th grade so that our middle school and high school will be able to compete in the Charter School League. So when I think about questions that we often get if we were doing open houses in a regular setting, a lot of parents want to know what sets Empowerment apart from other schools in the community. And one thing I know is that we truly do look at the whole child. We try to make sure that we're educating not only on academics, but also building citizens that can contribute to society later on in life. So that's why we do one community service event and one community event each and every month. So for example, for our community event in November, we usually do a Day of Thanks potluck where all families and staff can come together, share some recipes, share some desserts. Of course, this was all pre-COVID, and just give thanks to each other for all that we do. And the community service event in November is typically doing a food drive in which we open up a food pantry for not only Empowerment families, but also to local shelters in the community. So Empowerment really is very big on educating not only the academics, but also the whole child. We also have a really growing PTO at our school. It's something that we've been working on hard the last couple of years to grow and build within our community. So the parent-teacher organization will also host fun events for teachers and for kids each month. So the PTO is always collaborating with us to make fun events as well. And in fact, you can go and check out their website of any existing things they have going on. I thought it would be good to take a moment to talk about some educational technology and where we stand as a school from a technology standpoint. I have to say that I am very, very proud and impressed with our tech team that this year so far we have been able to loan over 600 Chromebooks to families who needed computers during this difficult time. So we actually have enough Chromebooks and computers to do one-to-one and assign a computer to every single child who needs one. And we also have a limited number of hotspots as well to make sure that everyone is connected. When we are in school from an educational technology standpoint, every single classroom is equipped with an interactive whiteboard and a projector for students to be able to have enhanced lessons from their teachers from a technology standpoint. We also have iPads in every classroom to be used for small group reading centers. And we also have a full tech lab at both campuses with desktop computers ready for kids to be able to come for direct technology instruction.
Thank you for considering Empowerment Academy Charter School for your scholars' academic success and watching our video. Please be sure to submit an application. Our office is here, able to assist you Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please be sure to send us an email at the link below or give us a call at our main office number. Thank you.